Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to another exciting, fun, brilliant episode of the Jerich Show. I am Javad Malik, and alongside me, unfortunately, as always, is my cohort, Mr. Eric Crone. Oh my God, that's...
Well, good morning, Javad.
You know, if they made a remake of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, you would be the child catcher. That's what you remind me of. You just need a bigger nose flat put on so you can sniff them out. And
man, you're an evil man.
Yeah.
Speaking of evil, how about we get on with the show, right? People don't want to hear our banter.
Speaking of evil, let's start with Oracle.
Yes, let's. So yeah, we saw the word the other day that Oracle is buying TikTok or partnering with TikTok, right? What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it? It's I'm not entirely sure what that deal actually means at the moment. It's still up in the air. I don't think anything's been officially agreed, but Oracle beat out Microsoft and others to be the official tech partner, I think is the term I heard, of TikTok in the US. And I think initially it's like, what they're doing. But then I took a step back and I thought, well, you know, China actually already mandates that any foreign company wanting to do business within China, cloud provider, whatever they have to partner with a local approved provider. So Microsoft, Apple, all the big names, whoever name it, when they operate in China, they have to they partner with someone locally and then they deliver the services. So it's an approved data center. I think when you look in Europe after GDPR, us Europeans were all like, you can't take our European citizen data, you know, unless you meet like 5,000 clauses. So they're like, okay, let's build local data centers within the European Union and we can keep all European citizen data there. So in that regard, I don't see what the US is doing as any different from those kinds of regulations. Okay, the implementation is weird. There's no overarching regulation that's doing it. But when you look at it in principle, it's probably exactly the same as what they're doing. They're saying, hey, this is US citizen data. We don't want it going into foreign territories where we don't know how they're going to use it or take care of it. So partner with a local trusted provider and they can hold and process the data in country. That's how I'm understanding it. So I think when you strip away the sensationalism, I think, okay, maybe the US will or can put in place a blanket policy and apply that to a lot more tech of any foreign tech company that's looking to harvest any US citizen data. What was your take on it, Eric? Have I got it right or wrong?
No, I see what you're saying there, and you know, I don't disagree with any of it. I did think it was an interesting partnership, right? So I'm trying to figure out, like, what does Oracle have to do with TikTok? Like, are they going to introduce some really convoluted licensing crap to go behind it now just to confuse people? I mean, you know, this is the Oracle, TikTok, you know, I could almost even see the Microsoft one when Microsoft was trying to get them, because now they can push product on there or whatever, you know, they can push ads between things. They can do whatever, where you could, you know, maybe just one click buy from there, from Walmart, right? So I can almost see that. Microsoft, yeah, who knows? Sort of the same thing. And I get it. You know, the thing about TikTok is I don't think this really would have been such a big deal if the app hadn't been doing some kind of sketchy crap to begin with, right? Like, you know, with the new iOS popping up and showing how many times it was hitting the clipboard and doing some just weird stuff like that.
Exactly the same amount of times as LinkedIn was doing it.
Well, yeah. But here's the thing, you know, TikTok, it happened once before that they were called out for that. And they said, no, we fixed it now. And then boom, it turned out that they didn't fix it, you know? And so I think that kind of spun up a lot of stuff. I don't know that it's really as big a deal as a lot of people think, at least not on a personal level. So like me and you, whatever, it's really not that big a deal. Now, where it does get to be an interesting issue is, say, for example, our military folks, that are running around doing TikToks when they're deployed somewhere or stuff like this, and it's grabbing all the data. It's not much worse than people who don't turn off geotagging on their pictures and then drop it on, social. It's not really that much worse. The key is, though, it is a Chinese company. Like, it is from China. And although they say, oh no, we have nothing to do with the Chinese government, it's kind of a wink, wink, nod, nod. We know that the pressure that they can put on them for things is pretty significant. So there are some times where that could be a concern. But again, I think for most of the typical usual population, it's not the end of the world. But there was this big flare up. And of course, our president got involved and made deals out of it and was going to ban it. And so it drove to this kind of interesting partnership. And it'll be interesting to see how this plays out, because as a tech partner, my understanding is they aren't buying it lock, stock, and barrel, which is kind of what it was sounding like in the beginning, that they were selling to Oracle or they were selling to Walmart. So now they've made a partnership. And I have to wonder how much that is going to impact the heat that they've gotten and the potential ban just by partnering with them. So we'll see what happens.
It's a weird one. And I think you're right. It's a lot of things comes down to personal risk models, and the military should not be doing a lot of things that they do anyway. So I think any social media network is dangerous for active military or undercover agents or whoever to work on. I mean, similarly, they banned the use of DJI drones in the military, I believe, in the US military at least, because they were sending lots of geotagging information back. But also, if you remember, like last year, was it, when Strava had a breach, or maybe Strava published a lot of data from the running bands, the fitness trackers.
Yep.
And you had people like, oh, they're running in the desert. There's absolutely nothing there. They run for a bit, and then there's nothing, and then half a mile later they reemerge. But, maybe that's a secret base over there.
Yeah, yeah. And so coming out of DoD, and having worked there for about 10 years, with the Army side of things, there are certain things that, with operational security or OPSEC that you have to be careful of, that, the average Joe doesn't necessarily think of, really doesn't impact the average Joe. There's been times where they said that they were able to tell that some sort of mission was going to be going on because a lot of pizzas were being delivered to a place, in the evening time sort of deal, and cars parked in parking lots, and times that are abnormal in certain places can indicate that something's going on. So there's all kinds of things that you don't really think about out on the outside that can tip people off to that. And this is just another one of those things when they're doing TikToks out here, and that stuff's getting out there. Yeah, that could be a concern. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anyways,
speaking of OSINT, there was some not too long ago, I saw someone post this thread on Twitter where there was a photo taken, and just based on the height of the trees and the shadow they cast, and they mapped it to the maps and satellite images, they were able to pinpoint this was taken sometime in this month during the year at this time. And if you see now, and it was so clever, it was just a normal photo that you think has got no identifying traits whatsoever. They were able to pinpoint quite accurately where it was in the world. So there's a lot of clever stuff that people can do.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's even a push for people to take pictures of hotel rooms. Okay. And it seems kind of weird, right? But they're using some of this information, like the carpet and things like that, to help go after people who exploit children, right? So like sexual exploitation of children. So they can match that to possibly a database to go, oh, hey, here's the same carpet we're seeing. It's this chain of hotels or whatever, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of information that goes into stuff like that. And it's interesting how that can be used to track certain things. So absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll try to find the link. Europol has a website with, you spoke about missing children or abused children, where they post redacted photos but they have certain elements in it where they ask people to try and identify, like, do you
Right.
know which country this plug socket is used in, or do you know where this T-shirt design might be sold, or something like that. And members of the public can just submit, say, hey, I've seen that being sold here, or that looks like this building, or what have you. And you can actually help in finding missing children.
That's awesome. I love that.
So I'll find a link and I'll put it in the notes below.
Awesome.
But,
so the next story I think you have has a little deadly twist to it, right? So we're about to get serious, aren't we?
Exactly. Yeah, something a bit more cheery than child exploitation. Woman dies during ransomware attack on a German hospital. Okay, the headline is just to hook you in a bit. They didn't die directly as a result. So the hospital got infected with ransomware. A lady went there with to A&E and to told, look, our systems are down, go to the next hospital, which was about 20 miles away. And unfortunately, because of that journey and the time it took to get there, she died. So they're considering this as a death directly related to ransomware, which, okay, I can see how you do get there. Apparently, according to the news report, the hospital wasn't the target. It was a nearby university, I think. I'm trying to read this at the same time as talking. You know, I can't do two things at the same time. But
well, that's a big oopsie, right? Oh, we were going after a college and ended up killing someone at the hospital.
Yeah, because the ransomware note was actually it was made out to the university. It wasn't to the hospital. And then when authorities or whoever responded to the hackers and said, "Hey, you've hit a hospital," they actually decrypted the data. They removed the ransomware, but it was a bit too late by then. German authorities are still investigating, and this part where it gets really interesting. If her diversion to another hospital is found to be responsible for her death, police may treat the cyber attack as homicide. Would you treat it as homicide, Eric?
You know, that's tough. There would be a whole lot of things that are involved in that. You know, was the person too far gone anyways? And, you know, the extra drive, there's a lot of things that would have to be unpacked to do that. But I do think it's interesting. And if you remember earlier this year when COVID first hit, a bunch of the ransomware groups came up and they said, oh, we're not going to attack hospitals. And if we do, we'll, you know, decrypt for free or whatever, which is what it sounds like may have happened in this case. But it doesn't stop accidents like this from happening, you know, and it's been bad enough with hospitals and healthcare that the U.S. Red Cross and one of the other groups, I think it was like the Cyber Peace Institute or something like that, issued a statement earlier this year that kind of went, please stop. They were pleading with these ransomware groups to please stop hitting medical facilities. It was at that point already. So it's not surprising. It's unfortunate, but not surprising to see that this led to the death of somebody. It was honestly just a matter of time. When you take out medical facilities, this sort of thing is going to happen. That's right.
That's right. So it's interesting to see how this will progress. I think, you know, homicide is probably a bit far. Manslaughter, involuntary manslaughter is probably like what we're looking at. But part of me is also, yes, they should come down hard on some individuals responsible for these attacks. Maybe that will start deterring your casual attacker, because at the moment there's absolutely no deterrent. But I think also you want to be careful where you don't start introducing some legislation or law that ends up persecuting people very harshly for something that isn't warranting of it.
Yeah, that's always that you know, razor's edge that you got to walk when it comes to legislation and laws around this sort of thing. You know, but very much, you know, when I do my ransomware presentation, one of the first slides I have is the, you know, this is fine with the burning background and all that with the dog, right? And I put that up there because that actually describes kind of the ransomware situation right now, where we're all just like, oh, look, it's ransomware, right? It's become such a norm. And we don't necessarily come down hard on these folks. We aren't really, you don't see stories of people getting busted for this sort of thing, really. We just kind of go, yay, I defended against it. Yay, I defended against it. But that's all we're actually being able to do at this point. We're not able to really take them down very much. And it's unfortunate. But when you start tying it to something like this, like physical deaths, that will increase the focus on this, right? And it will take it to the next level where it's no longer an inconvenience, albeit a significant one, but it's causing people to die. So that will rally some folks around that and see it. Unfortunate that it happened, absolutely. You bring up a good point about whether it's manslaughter or murder, and that comes down to, at least in some countries, I don't know about yours, but, it comes down to intent. It comes down to were they blatantly, whatever, was it a mistake, all that kind of good stuff. So there's some pretty interesting legal precedent that could happen to that. And then that could transfer over to anything in the future that could be a cyber to physical or, a cyber to kinetic sorts of attacks in the future too, and how that all ties together. So there's a lot of area there in the law. There is
indeed. Yeah. So just going back while you were talking there, I found the Europol website that we were mentioning before. This is it. It's europol.europa.eu/stop child abuse. And this is like trace an object. So what it does is you can see there's nothing in there, but they'll have photos like this and say, do you recognize the logo on that T-shirt? You can go into it. And so if you recognize it, then there's a send information and you can tweet about it and what have you. So this is all the things. And, do you recognize those products? And I'm sure I'll try to go on the website once a month or something and just have a look around. There's nothing actually that I've ever recognized on it, but I think you just never know. So I'll encourage people to go on there, try and identify an object. If you do, then do use the report functionality on there, and just, even if it's just a guess, you think it looks like something, I'm sure it's all useful information.
And you know what, given the subject matter here, I do want to give a shout out to ILF, the Innocent Lives Foundation, that they actually have people that go out and try to unmask these folks that are doing predatory actions against kids, and they use OSINT skills, they use social engineering skills, they use all this kind of stuff, not as vigilantes. They get, law enforcement comes to them and says, hey, can you help us figure out who this person is that's trying to hide? And I'm sure they use many of the same tactics and techniques and things like that with that too. So I think, ILF is an outstanding organization if you want to support anybody, because this is what they do too. Unmask anonymous online child predators. So I love that, that we're covering a lot of stuff like this. And this is kind of headed up by Chris Hadnagy, just an awesome guy. And then Shane is one of the leadership in there, and he's an awesome person as well. So kudos to them for what they're doing, trying to help this as well.
Absolutely. I think it's great to have all these skills that people in our industry have and show it to as theoretical vulnerabilities or doing it as a prank or something. But there are some real life applications to this, and I think the more people that get involved in things like this, we can help do our little part to make the world a better place.
Yep, outstanding. I mean, there are things as technical people we can do. There are organizations that help like sever ties in abusive relationships, to help, wipe phones, get tracking software off there. There's all kinds of stuff we can do in communities to do this. For anyone watching this, if you have some stuff you want to plug, please put it in the comments down here. We'd love to see some stuff like that. Or if you're looking for more information, reach out to us and we'll try to put you in touch with somebody. But no, this is stuff that we can do for better using our skills.
Yeah, cool. And if you work for one of those organizations, you want to come on here as a guest, we'd be more than welcome to have you on and let you talk through what you do, how you do it, and how more people can get involved.
Absolutely.
And also, if anything, to get Eric off the screen and someone else on there, I will more than welcome.
One of these days I'm going to get our login here where I control who's on the screen at what time. And then it's...
Oh, sorry. We seem to have some technical difficulty and I've lost Eric Crone. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us this week. It's been wonderful to have you. A bit more serious episode this week than normal, but, it's great to have you all, and hope you find this useful. As Eric said, comments below are open. Abuse to him, praise to me, and see you next week. Bye.